Feeling exhausted, inflamed, or stuck in your healing journey? What if a tiny nutrient could be the missing piece? In today's episode, I want to reveal why your vitamin D levels might be holding you back and how to fix it. So, stay tuned. Hey friend, welcome to Gut Fix. Are you ready to finally get rid of those debilitating digestive symptoms? Do you catch yourself staying up late Googling things like, what can I eat? Or how do I stop a flare? Or maybe you're just lying awake wondering, how did this ever happen to me? I'm Wendy, and I've been exactly where you are, desperately searching for answers, but determined to find natural solutions. And like you, I was overwhelmed by all the conflicting information out there and unsure of what might really work for me. And so now in this podcast, I'm here to share with you what I've learned, how to listen to your body's signals, and uncover the common mistakes that might be standing in the way of your healing. So grab your favorite drink, pop in your earbuds, and let's dive into your health transformation together. Hey there, and welcome back to Gut Fix. I'm your host, Wendy Handy, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and fellow gut health warrior. So today I want to dive into a very small but mighty nutrient that I see so many women overlook, and that's vitamin D. So if you're feeling exhausted, inflamed, or stuck in your healing, even though you're doing all the right things, then this episode is absolutely for you. You know, so many of my clients, women just like you, come to me and say, Wendy, I'm eating clean, I'm managing my stress, I'm even taking my supplements, getting proper sleep, but I still feel tired. My gut still flares up, and I just can't seem to get ahead. And oftentimes when we dig into their labs, we find one surprising culprit, their vitamin D levels. Now, that's not the only thing we find, don't get me wrong. There's always going to be imbalances. Nobody is in perfect homeostasis all the time. We will always find something that we can work on. But vitamin D oftentimes comes up in a lot of these cases. And so let's kick things off with one of the things that most of us grew up with, hearing that vitamin D is super important for strong bones, right? We've all heard that. And that is absolutely 100% true. It is. It does help your body absorb calcium, which is very crucial for your bone health. But in the world of functional medicine, we look a little bit deeper, and we understand that vitamin D is so much more than just bone health. In fact, it's not just a vitamin, it's actually a hormone-like nutrient that plays a very huge, and I mean huge, role in so many crucial body functions. So we're talking about things like your immune regulation. So think of it as a conductor of your immune system orchestra. It helps keep things balanced, preventing your immune system from being either underactive, making you susceptible to every bug that's out there, or overactive, which can contribute to inflammation and autoimmunity. And then gut lining repair. And this is a big one for my Gut Fix listeners. So vitamin D is crucial for maintaining the integrity of your gut lining. So if you have leaky gut or increased intestinal permeability, adequate vitamin D is essential for healing the strengthening of that barrier. And then reducing inflammation. So it's an important anti-inflammatory agent in your body. So if you're constantly battling inflammation, whether it's in your gut, your joints, or just generally feeling inflamed, vitamin D is a key player in calming that down. And then mood and brain health. It even affects your mental well-being. Low vitamin D has been linked to mood disturbances, depression, and even cognitive issues. And then we've got hormone balance. So it interacts with various hormone pathways in your body, which is especially relevant for women who are navigating through perimenopause and menopause. And of course, yes, autoimmunity, including IBD. So research increasingly points to vitamin D's role in modulating autoimmune responses, which is incredibly important for, the conditions like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's. So if your immune system feels like it's constantly flaring, or if you're catching every bug that comes around, or let's just say your mood is off, you're a little bit depressed lately, you're just not feeling yourself or in a funk, or your gut feels like it's never really truly healing, even with all those efforts, vitamin D may very well be involved. And it's truly a foundational nutrient for overall health. So this brings me to conventional versus functional levels. And this is where it can get a little bit frustrating for a lot of people. So here's the problem. Most doctors, when they look at your lab results, they're going to tell you, hey, your vitamin D is just fine. If it's anywhere above that 30 nanograms per milliliter, and technically, yes, that level is usually enough to prevent overt deficiencies, like diseases like rickets, for example. But when we transition into the functional world and functional medicine, we're not just aiming to prevent disease. We're looking for optimal health. And we want to see levels that support robust health, not just quote unquote, not deficient. So for somebody who's dealing with chronic fatigue, inflammation, IBD, or any other autoimmune conditions, we're looking for levels between 50 and 80 nanograms per milliliter. And I would say even closer to that 80. And why this higher range? Because these optimal levels are what we need and what we see that supports, a stronger gut lining integrity that's essential for healing your leaky gut, for example. It's the higher levels are for healthy immune balance. That's going to help your immune system function optimally without being, underactive or overactive. And it significantly reduces your risk of flare-ups and inflammation. So you might have been told that you're just fine, right? By conventional standards, when functionally speaking, your body is actually running on fumes, right? You're not getting the full benefits of this very crucial hormone-like nutrient. And it could be a major factor in why you're still feeling tired, inflamed, or stuck. It's a subtle but profound difference in perspective. And so why is it often low is the question that I get. And this is where it gets even more interesting because, and a lot of times even just downright surprising for most people. So you might be thinking or saying to yourself, but Wendy, I live in Florida like you, and I spend time outdoors, and I take a vitamin D supplement, and yet your levels are still suboptimal. Why is that? Well, there's 5 big reasons that why your vitamin D might be low, even though you're doing all the right things and despite your best efforts. Number 1, you might have gut absorption issues. And this is a huge one for my Gut Fix community. So if you've got IBD, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, or any kind of gut damage, even dysbiosis, inflammation, your gut lining might not be absorbing nutrients effectively. And vitamin D, like other fat-soluble vitamins, needs a healthy gut to be able to be absorbed properly. So even if you're taking a supplement, it might not be making it into your system. And then the second big reason is, a low-fat diet. So vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin like we mentioned, right? That means that it needs dietary fat to be absorbed and utilized by your body. So if you're eating a very low-fat diet, or even if you have, an issue digesting fats, which we see oftentimes, right? You might not be getting the full benefits of the vitamin D that you're eating, consuming, or producing when you're out in the sun. And then the third big reason is, we live indoors a lot. We spend a lot of time indoors now. And if we're outside, a lot of times we're using sunscreen. So, let's be honest. Most of us don't get enough direct sun exposure without the use of sunscreen, especially during certain times of the year. And when we are outside, we're constantly putting on sunscreen, which is going to block the UVB rays, and that's needed for your vitamin D synthesis. And then the fourth big reason is genetics. And this is fascinating because some people have genetic variations, specifically in something called the vitamin D receptor or VDR gene. These variations can mean that your body converts vitamin D3 into its active form a lot more slowly, or that maybe your cells don't respond as efficiently to the vitamin D that's available to it. So even with good levels, your body might not be utilizing it optimally. And then the fifth big reason is chronic stress or inflammation. So when your body is under chronic stress or constantly battling inflammation, it uses up more of its nutrient reserves, including vitamin D. And it's like a constant drain on your vitamin D stores, making it so much harder to maintain those optimal levels. So you can see that even if you are supplementing, it doesn't mean that it's working. And if you've never tested your levels, you're essentially guessing. And that's not the way to approach true healing. It's certainly not the way that I like to approach it. So, how do you know if you have optimal levels? And we know that your optimal levels for functionally versus conventional. Now we know maybe why it's low. Now we need to know how to raise it naturally, right? So I recommend a very simple yet powerful 4-part approach. Number 1, this is a non-negotiable, is to get tested. You cannot manage what you don't measure. You need to know your baseline. And I'll share with you in just a minute a very simple at-home test, which is super convenient. The second thing is to aim for that good range of 50 to 80 nanograms per milliliter. So if you're dealing with IBD, chronic fatigue, inflammation, any autoimmune challenges, this is the therapeutic sweet spot, if you will, that we're aiming for. And you need to make sure that you're working with a practitioner to determine your ideal target. And then the third thing you can do is support it with food. And so, food alone is not going to be enough to correct a deficiency, but it can certainly help. So incorporate foods that are naturally very rich in vitamin D, and that's going to be your wild-caught fatty fish like salmon or mackerel, sardines if you like them, pastured eggs and egg yolks, and some certain mushrooms that have been exposed to UV light. Cod liver oil is also a fantastic source. A lot of people don't like it. So, but remember, it is, vitamin D is fat soluble. So these foods naturally come with the fats that are needed for the absorption of it, right? And then the fourth thing is you want to supplement, but you want to do it smartly. So if your levels are low, supplementation is usually going to be necessary to get them back into that optimal range. So you want to look for a vitamin D3 supplement that is the most bioavailable form. And it's crucial to pair it with vitamin K2. So K2 helps direct calcium to your bones and your teeth, preventing it from depositing it into your soft tissue like your arteries. And so always take D3K2 supplement with a meal that contains, a healthy fat. So think about things like olive oil, avocado, nuts. That's going to give you the maximum absorption. And here's the key. You want to test again after 3 months to track your progress and adjust your dosage, as needed, right? This one isn't one of those set it and forget it kinds of supplements, right? So this brings me to the last part of this. And, because testing is so critical, I do have a resource that I use myself and I recommend to all my clients. It's an at-home vitamin D test that's from a company called Zenzino. It's incredibly simple and convenient. It's a quick, painless finger prick test that you can do yourself, mail it in, and then you're going to get a detailed breakdown of your current vitamin D level, so no more guessing. It's going to tell you whether your current supplementation, if you are taking one, is actually effective in getting you to the levels that you need to be. And then most importantly, you'll get some personalized recommendations based on your actual biology and your test results. So this is going to take all of the guesswork out of it. No more wasting supplements, no more wondering whether your fatigue flares or any of that is linked to your vitamin D levels. It's just clear, actionable answers. And it's such a helpful starting point to anyone curious about their levels, or if you're struggling with those persistent symptoms. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, wow, maybe my vitamin D isn't where it should be, I gotcha. This is a common missing piece for so many women and men, really. And if you want to get your hands on this at-home vitamin D test that I use myself and with my clients, it's super easy. Just send me an email at wendy@wendyhandy.com. That's WENDY at WENDYHANDY. And just put in the subject line vitamin D test, and I'll send you a direct link. Or you can, get it in the show notes below. So that's it for today. I hope that you found some value in this. I hope that this kind of opened up your eyes a little bit to the vitamin D saga out there, especially the conventional versus functional side of things, because I know a lot of people come to me and they say, but no, my vitamin D is just fine. I'm at 33 or something, right? And like I said, that is prevention. That is, you're not gonna get sick, but that's not optimal health. And like I said, I hope you found some value. If you did, please share it with a friend or family member who might be dealing with some fatigue, inflammation, or gut issues. And remember, we're in this together. There is definitely a better way to feel better naturally. So until next week, stay happy and stay healthy. Hey friend, I hope today's episode brought you some real value. If it did, would you take just 30 seconds to share it with a friend who might be struggling to get her gut in check? And if you're feeling extra generous, leave me a review on Apple. It absolutely lights me up knowing that this podcast is making a difference for you. All right, it's time for me to grab my protein shake and get my gut happy. I'll see you back here next Tuesday for another episode of Gut Fix. And until then, stay happy and stay healthy.